Playing with Power MTG. Powerful cards, powerful formats.
All right, welcome to the very first episode of Take Inventory. I'm Matt Sperling. I'm joined by a couple exciting guests today. This is the Eminence episode, I suppose. But I've got two folks from the Eminence team. I've got Mikey, I've got Zane. They actually just announced on the day of this recording an Eminence Gaming supported tournament series called the Top Deck Championship Series. Strongly encourage you to check out their social media at Eminence TCG to get the full details on that. And I'm sure there's gonna be more details to come. I'm still digesting it myself, but it's actually exciting that we get to collaborate on this at the same time that's being announced. We'll get to plug that, and certainly a group of folks putting on tournaments that I participated in that I'm happy to support. So welcome Mikey, who's going to be my debate opponent, and Zane, who's going to be judging. The framework here is I don't know the debate topic. I don't know what I'm going to have to argue against, so it could be anything. I've asked for it to be magic related since that's the topic of, the channel that we're on. And Zane is also going to have freedom to both moderate and adjudicate in whatever way he sees fit. I've told Mikey he can have the first word and the last word as a courtesy to my guests. So start off by explaining what we're talking about and his opening sort of take, and then we'll dive in from there. I'll give him the last word to sum up as we wrap up, and then we'll get Zane's thoughts on how it went, who won, and how he judged it. All right, Mikey, let us know where we stand. What did you come up with?
Yeah, so something that we're noticing, especially now with like cedh tournaments becoming more and more prevalent, is that there's a certain color in the color pile that is constantly being neglected, in my opinion. I know Kinnan is starting to pop off and do some things, but it's not really taking advantage of green in the way that I feel like really encompasses the color combination. It's mostly just using Kinnan's ability, infinite mana, win the game, but it's not really taking advantage of a lot of green cards, or at least the way that I see it. And outside of Kinnan, a lot of green decks are just kind of dying out. Like Zane's here, he used to play a lot of Temur Pirates. It's not really competing. So I feel green kind of needs something to make it more relevant and something that will open up a lot of new strategies that don't currently exist, namely lands. Because right now, I feel the green cards are mostly just find a Dockside, find the Oracle, and kind of are enabling more or less what the Grixis decks are already doing. So the topic that I brought today is I think Fastbond should be unbanned in Commander. I think it'll open up a lot of new strategies. I don't think it'll be too powerful because a lot of the really unfair stuff you can do, such as strip mine locking with like a Crucible Worlds or Rampionot and Fastbond, they require 3 cards. And at this point, cards are so powerful. A 3-card combo really isn't that scary, even for a casual player. But I do think it's something where we got to play a lot more of like Tatyova, Gitrog can start to come back into the meta, possibly some of the different Omnath decks. And I think it's just something that will really help green that's really identifies with its color of like lands. And this will be able to help bring that more into cedh. And also I think it'll be completely fine in casual because there is a big cost of paying the extra life. And as I said, having 3-card combos, like that's not the boogeyman it used to be in casual. Like people are running Dockside in their decks, and that just enables so much silly stuff with all the new cards that are coming out.
Okay. Well, I may have to hire an editor to zoom in on my smirk when you said it's a big cost of paying the extra life in Commander.
Well, I've been more for casual. That one is a little bit bigger, but yeah, definitely not too much.
All right. So, while I agree with some of your premises around sort of the green's overall positioning, yeah, this is not the tool that I would use to give a boost to a color. I think that unbanning a card that it might have shown up on the list for reasons that are sort of unrelated, not completely tied to power level, but also sort of play experience, the ease with which one player can get ahead, pull way ahead, and also have a 1-mana combo piece. I think in casual, it's going to be pretty impactful in a potentially negative way. I think that overall, the players I talk to in the casual space, and I do get, again, I've got friends that play competitive, friends that don't. There's often a sentiment around what Simic is doing and sort of landfall and extra land drop as already being in a position in casual where it's like sort of the last thing that you would need to reach back into the archives in order to boost, is the sentiment that I get from those players. There's a ton of tools to pick from. And to have one that's like a 1-mana engine, I think I disagree pretty strongly that that's going to be something that's going to land well with the casual player base. Now, I don't know that I'm an expert to speak. I can't say that from personal experience it's going to ruin my casual experience. That's just the sense I get when I talk about the positioning of green and Simic with casual players. So that part of the argument, I think it doesn't really land. And I don't think the one life is a big cost. I think it's super easy in casual to pair with something that, gains a life, either Zerno or the Tatiana, something that gains you life along the way. I think it's like pretty trivial. In cEDH, while those things are less trivial to set up because you're having to play suboptimal cards to potentially pair them with, I just don't know that the addition of this card is actually what green needs to be put back on the map in cEDH. Because what actually makes a color strong in cEDH? Is it something like this that's like a build around combo piece that doesn't necessarily slot in with the other powerful cards? Or is it powerful cards that slot in with alongside the other powerful cards sort of naturally? So that's why although Fastbond does pair with like draw 7, there is some natural pairing there. To me, that's not like a deck that's going to come together necessarily at tier 1, where I'm going to want to say, you know what, instead of being interested in, Underworld Breach or these other powerful combos that, again, just sort of play naturally with fast mana and card draw, I'm going to do this other thing that is fast mana if I have card draw. And that, to me, that's a little bit different. So I think it's not going to land as big as you're indicating in cEDH. And then perhaps more importantly, when you look at sort of the impact of unbanning a card that specifically plays into green ramp in casual, I think that's overall a net negative on casual, and then maybe like a neutral little small impact on cEDH, not the kind of impact that you're hoping for in order to, the sort of the payoff of the impact on casual would be that cEDH unlock. Just don't think it's going to quite hit that home run.
Yeah, so as for the casual points, while yes, you can pair with something like Zurian Orb to like mitigate the life loss, that still is adding another piece to the combo where I'm just saying, I think 3-card combos really just are not that unnormal now in casual nowadays. I think there was a time where 3-card combos were just viewed as like borderline cEDH in some casual pots, but now it's like Corvold is a legal commander, Dockside is a legal card people are playing with. People are playing with these very explosive cards already. And while it is only 1 mana, Dockside's only 2, and that's something that they have access to. Also, Academy Manufacturer is another card that kind of just enables a lot of these treasure generators that we've been seeing in like all these other formats that really has kind of pushed a lot of casual decks a little bit further. Knobbone, I think, is another good example. So while, if you pair with the Zurian Orb or like a Tatiova or something where you're able to gain life while playing your lands, yes, but at the same time, it's still a 3-card combo. You're not playing the density of tutors that you're playing in competitive. Getting out like a commander that's able to take advantage of it, as well as having the Fastbond and then like the third piece that combos with it. It's just really hard to have that much mana advantage in casual, as well as the tutor density. So while it might be a problem in some circles, I think as like a whole, it just kind of gives us this new tool to play with where like landfall strategies are already good. I don't think this makes it that much better because we already have Crucible Worlds, we have Rampion Excavator, we have like Tatiana, or I forgot the exact name of it, but the 5/3
Tatiova, yeah, no, Tatiova. I cheated.
You guys should be careful. I used to play a lot of Tatiova in casual, so I have an opinion on this.
Okay. The judge.
Good to know. But I just don't think it's gonna have the splash that it might have had in casual like a while ago. Like Bowmasters is in casual. Like there's a lot of these very powerful cards that are low rate for mana. Just because as a whole, I feel Magic is starting to get more and more pushed every year. Like we're seeing it with a lot of Modern Horizons. So I don't think bringing back this 1 mana enchantment is really going to be make or break, especially because if you're playing it in the Simic ramp strategies, they have no way to tutor for this. You had to start adding 3rd or 4th colors, which gets even harder in casual because, once again, tutor density, land fixing is not as important because, a lot of casual decks are not playing like the fetches, the duels, and everything like that, or all the fast mana. So I just think it starts to get mitigated a lot, and it's like, cool, Mono Green has this tool that might push some of these decks over the edge, but they need a mulligan to it or just have it, or just draw it naturally.
Did they ban the card Dizzy Spell that has transmute? Oh, they didn't ban it? Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well,
you got me there. There might be some transmute.
Look, in casual, my problem is, I suspect that cards like Tatiova and Courser of Crewfix that combo really exceptionally well with it. I suspect those cards are already quite strong in casual. And so again, it's like,
banned too, so
what's that?
Courser of Crewfix, I think, is the card he's referencing.
Never mind.
Not the Prophet, but the Courser.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's a different debate whether to unban Prophet or.
Oh yeah, no, that's a difference. That one we're not getting into.
No, the Courser Recruit Fix, you can play lands off the top, you gain a life. So I think ultimately, I mean, this might hinge on what's the overall impact on casual, and does this become a fun tool or an oppressive addition to something that already has a lot of sort of this is oppressive sentiment around it. I think it lands in the latter camp. This is a tool that's at too high, like sort of, it'd be hard to say it wasn't at too good a rate for what it's doing. So it's giving you an exceptional rate in an area that's already been pushed with a lot of good rates. And I think this thing is going to go sort of nuts. And in any time, okay, you can't tutor it very often, but in these decks where like anytime I draw it, my deck just goes 10x and it becomes like a non-game. I mean, it's sort of like, why am I unlocking that door? And then to answer that question, is why am I unlocking that door? Is because I want the cEDH player to have access to this. And yeah, again, like I'm not going to say it's not kind of cool with, the windfalls and the time twisters. I mean, there's something there, but ultimately I don't think that's going to become a strat. I don't think that's even what, if you unban it, I don't even think that's what green's about. I think green still is about something like a mix of Kinnan and the 5-color commanders around, thinking about what Kenrith is doing or Najila and having not like a million green cards, but like the best ones and the 5-color ones, whether that's like a Bring to Light or a Culling Ritual. Like, I think green sort of ends up in the same place, even though in theory you can play this card and tutor for it. So, I mean, what does that package actually look like? I mean, maybe you already designed it, but for me, it's like, I've got a tutor for Fastbond and what? Like, am I tutoring for another card that's not very effective in my deck to pair with it? Or is it like, what am I actually doing with it? I don't really think it's like tutoring for that and then playing a draw 7. I mean, is that the best we can do with it in your view? Is that what you're saying is like, that's so awesome and so powerful that it's worth all those taxes you're paying in casual?
No. So I think that it enables a lot of strategies that you might just not be considering. While obviously the wheel synergy is there, no need to explain that. It enables a lot of different commanders that currently are been pushed out of the format. For instance, Gitrog, even just 4 years ago at this point, was one of the top meta decks, but now it just can't compete because it's just too slow. And I think enabling and Tatio is another deck where it's kind of like cEDH, like is it cEDH? Is it like fringy? I'm personally in the camp where it's just not good enough at the moment, but enabling some of these more land-focused strategies is something that I think cEDH could really benefit from. And it does start to change the discussion where this is what green is currently doing, but it could be doing this land stuff. And, even like strip mine locks, even though we play a lot of fast mana, with our density of tutors and rituals and everything, being able to like assemble that combo, which I was mentioning in my casual side of the discussion, where it's like pretty hard to actually do this. It's actually a very real threat in Commander. Then you pair that now with Tatyova or Commander like Gitrog, where you're drawing cards every time you play a land or sack a land. It starts to make these decks seem extremely real. Another good example of this would be the 4-color Omnath, where just the incidental value of playing lands every turn, like being able to do like a fetch each turn, so you're cracking it, you play it, gain the life, crack it, you get the ritual, or like there's a lot of things there, and that's just like 3 examples that immediately come to my head. But I'm sure that there's a lot more you can do with it just because green is so focused on this, and being able to just really start to abuse lands in a creative way is something that no one's really doing in cEDH. Like obviously there's decks where it's like, oh, I play a lot of creatures, let me get the Gaia's Cradle and do the thing.
Yeah.
Or, there's some emergent zone stuff, but I wouldn't really call those like land combos or like land focus, but Fastbond really starts to turn on these commanders that have this landfall text or things like Gitrog and Tattoo that are drawing cards. And I think it just opens up a lot of them. I'm not necessarily sure that they'll be better than the Grixis decks necessarily, but I think it gets them into real contention for being viable again.
And I've played against this AESI. I've played against it. I haven't pronounced it correctly, but this AC card, Tyrant of Gyre's String.
Yeah, it's like 5-mana Tatyova kind of.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's obviously playing in the same lane as Tatyova, but it gives you like a free explore, but you cost 6 to cast. So yeah, I mean, and I jotted down Omnath, I had AC, Tatyova, Gitrog, and there's probably a few others, right? But I look at that list. I actually don't. I mean, I'm not here to just, again, like the argument you're making is like this card should be unbanned. I don't want to try to argue too much. I don't want to say that Fastbond would have a negative impact on cEDH. It sounds like a net positive impact on cEDH specifically because those decks that aren't currently, at the top tier, they get a little bit of a boost. Great. So like, I don't have a problem with that. But I look at that list, I say, okay, I'm gonna add Fastbond to any of these top 4 strategies we identified so far: the Omnath, the AC, the Tatyova, the Gitrog. I don't think I end up with a deck that is now going to be at the Najeela, Kenrith, Kinnan tier of green decks, let alone the general overall tier 1, which would include a Rogsai, a T&K, a Tivit. So, yeah, I think if cEDH had its own ban list, it'd be worth a try, and it'd be sort of relatively low risk. I think, but the fact that it doesn't, and the fact that I don't think any of us on this call want cEDH to have its own ban list, I think is sort of the fatal flaw of the argument. The fatal flaw being that, look, you have to find cards on the unban that either have a negligible or positive impact on casual, and have that positive impact on cEDH. That to me creates a good candidate for an unban. Whereas this other profile that we're talking about, where it has sort of at best an unknown impact on casual, but potentially a negative one, in my view, I don't think that creates a good candidate, even if it potentially has a slight positive impact on cEDH. So I think I've sort of made my points. I'll turn it over to you to let me know. Either you can tell me, hey, I missed something, I got something new I want to mention, or if you want to sort of just sum up and take us home, wherever you want to go. Like I said, you can certainly have the last word if you're ready for that, or if you want to say, hey, there's another argument we haven't talked about yet, feel free to raise that as well.
No, I think at this point we kind of summed it all up, so I'm good with just getting my last little statement in. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement with, for cEDH, it's either a net positive because it lets some new things play, or it just doesn't really change anything. I think that is fairly accurate, because I'm not convinced that these strategies become good enough to be meta decks, but I think that it starts to let them enter the conversation. It gives us a lot more to like ask questions about and like see like how things perform. Because right now, a lot of the green decks is just kind of like you get laughed out of the room. Other than the Najeela, granted, that's playing like what, 3 or 4 green cards, so once again, don't really count it as a green deck. But I think we're on the same page for cEDH. As for casual, while this might be some floodgate that can lead to some negative play experiences, I just don't think that matters anymore, because there's so many powerful cards. Like the fact that Korvold exists as a commander, Kenrith exists as a commander, we have Orcish Bowmasters, we have Dockside. There's so many of these like haymakers, and while Korvold and Kenrith are on the higher end of the mana spectrum, there's so many that are still like very low to the ground, low CMCs. Like even just playing a Ragavan turn 1 in casual can be kind of backbreaking against a lot of decks. And I just don't think it matters that there's this one enchantment in a format where people don't really have the super high density of like efficient tutors. A lot of the combos are 3 to 4 cards. Like I just don't think it's really impactful. And I think if it was impactful enough, it just wouldn't be played in casual, because for instance, like Thassa's Oracle Consult is not something that's really played in casual. So now this is a 3-card combo that kind of wins the game. Like I just don't, it's either going to have no impact on casual like Oracle Consult, or it'll be something that people get to try out because it's 3 to 4 cards and they get to do a cool thing every now and then. But I don't think it's going to be this like boogeyman that just like everyone starts playing Fastbond in every casual deck. I think it kind of gives this new tool where you get to play with some more land stuff. Maybe you get to make Dark Depths combos work in casual. I think that would actually be like kind of interesting, having this huge 2020 attacker. But I just don't think it's this make or break. A lot of Magic cards are pushed these days, and I just don't feel like Fastbond really fits into the mold that is as definitive as it was when it got banned in the first place in Commander. Commander's at a much stronger place, and even casual tables, they're ending games pretty quickly. Like I've been playing a little bit more casual lately, and sure, they're not ending as fast as cEDH, but I feel like ending turn 7 is pretty fast for a casual game, at least from what I'm used to when I first started.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for bringing the take and defending it. Zane, if you want to talk us through how you're thinking about settling this, and
so do you want to hear the winner first, or you want me to talk about it first?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Build up the suspense.
Okay, so I feel like you guys were focusing a lot on like the. Let's start with the ability to get the Fastbond in casual. or even cedh, you guys missed a commander, Lord Windgrace, who's a Jund commander. You can actually just like vamp or DT or whatever for the Fastbond and kind of go crazy with it. You hit the obvious ones. Tatyova, Omnath has the white to kind of grab the Fastbond and whatnot. I think you got most of those commanders. I don't think any of those commanders would actually become crazy strong. Even if you unban Fastbond, I would actually think they're still on pretty much unplayable status, tier 3 status, even with Fastbond. I wish that you told me like a combo that would have been crazy with Fastbond that just is enabled by Fastbond, or like something crazy that's enabled with Fastbond that would really bring up power levels of certain decks. One thing I came up with was like when I was playing TNT and I would add Nas, I wouldn't have a good way to get a lot of ritual mana out to do my Nas turn. I think Fastbond would be very helpful there. I Fastbond, I drop like 4 extra lands, and then I can probably win from there.
What card tutors it? Lord Windgrace?
Lord Windgrace doesn't tutor it, but it has black.
Commander. Yeah, it's another commander that's in Jund colors that's all about lands. It's a land.
So he has black in his color identity.
But who cares? I mean, it's all right. I don't want to debate the. Sorry, I don't want to.
Yeah, who cares? It's just like how are you getting this Fastbond?
Activate once a turn Planeswalker. Like
exactly. It's just like so. That's what I'm trying to say is even if you could grab the Fastbond, what are you trying to do with this card? I don't think you're doing anything crazy with this card, and I think that the floodgates that you're opening up in casual is actually crazy. I pretty much exclusively played landfall strategies in casual for like years. I played all of those commanders that I listed and more that aren't listed on there. It's not just like combos and 3-card combos in casual, like strip mine locks with Romnup Excavator and stuff that you have to worry about. That's like whatever. I agree with the point that like, yeah, there is actually some crazy combos happening in casual, but even just having the Fastbond and dropping like a few extra lands in casual, the land ramp in casual is extremely important. We're not doing anything crazy like dropping crypts and all that stuff. Like Soul Ring in casual is wild. Like the person who drops Soul Ring is winning. So if you're dropping Fastbond and like 3 extra lands, you're probably also winning. Yeah, I think it's a casual terror, and what you're getting in cedh is not enough. Like the best thing I could come up with was like a little bit of a ritual after a Nas or a wheel or something to do some stuff. But does it go head to head with Dockside enough? I don't think so. And is it doing anything more than that? No, I don't think so. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this round to Matt Sperling. I think.
All right.
I think he had the right points.
I appreciate it. It's the first episode, so whether you had to dig deep or not so deep to find that victory for me, I really appreciate it. Keeping getting me started off on the right foot. So like I said at the start, you guys are off to some exciting, interesting new ventures with Eminence. I said, hey, go check them out on social media at MNC. Where's the best place to find you guys? Should people go to your website to learn more about the tournament series and other tournaments? Tell the folks where to go to find you and what you're doing.
Yeah, on Twitter, it's at Eminence TCG. That's a good place to look for social stuff. Other than that, topdeck.gg. That's a really good resource. It has access to like our command tower. That's our software that we sell that helps running tournaments super easily for only $5 a month, and is super easy to use. Lets you find events in your area. It has like a geolocator, so if you go to there, you can see what's happening near you if you're interested in playing commander events. We're starting to get some more 1v1 stuff there. Not as much at the moment, but still, if you're interested in playing commander, and that's mostly what this topic was about, great place to look. We've had a lot of people find out that LGSs that they didn't know about are running events right near them. And yeah, they'll also have some more information on the circuit that we were talking about at the beginning of the series that talks about how LGSs can get involved if you want your store to get involved, or if you're an organizer that does like smaller events, say like 16 to 30 people, it has all the information for how you can get involved and how those events can start racking up points for the circuit. And it also, we include online events too. That's our Emerald tier. So if you are trying to do online tournaments, that's also something that you can find the information about and how you're able to get included into that. And we just want this to be as accessible as possible. We just want more people joining, and we want our leaderboard to just be awesome. And that the only way that it's going to be awesome is if more players join. So hopefully more people start to check it out. We already have a great head start to everything, and it's only going to go up from here. And I'm really excited for 2024.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Let's see who the best CEDH player is. Join the Top Deck Championship Series.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. There you go. And I appreciate that. If you folks don't know where to find me, check out the entire team at Playing with Power on social media at PWPMTG. I'm at Sick of It. And, a lot of times you'll see a tournament series like this 2023 Mox Masters Invitational that might actually involve both these things both these entities that we're plugging, right? Playing with Power and Eminence. So you'll see these names and logos come up over and over again in the CEDH world. Hope that if you're into CEDH, will check us out collectively and participate in some of these events. I'm excited about what's going on now, and I'm really excited about what's coming on in the future. So thank you guys for joining me today. Appreciate it.